Greetings gamers, Kentaro here. So I just wanted to make this video today because I feel like I wanted to say something about the current state of PvP and just a general video on like class balance and just my thoughts on that without making, a tier list and going that in depth about which class is better than the other. I don't really want to talk about the class balance from that perspective and like what class is necessarily better than the other specifically right now. Anyone that plays PvP right now already knows that the Visions of Eternity elite specs have been overperforming. ArenaNet has done some work to address this. They have nerfed things a little bit and balanced some of the overperforming builds. But I think the bigger ongoing problem is that they're not bringing up the older specs enough, particularly like the core classes, to be competitive with the new specializations. They have done some quality of life improvements, like making fast hands baseline for warrior was good. It opened up more build options for things like Paragon and Spellbreaker, and they no longer need to rely on the discipline tree to be competitive, but it's just not quite enough like overall, and I'm not just talking about warrior here, I'm talking about all classes. I think the past couple expansions have kind of made the game, I almost don't want to say it, but pay to win, just because of how strong the new additions to the game are. For example, there was Spear during Janthir Wilds, which was by far the best weapon for most classes for a very long time. We saw how strong Guardian, Necromancer, Revenant, and even Ranger and Warrior were in tournament play and the ranked meta, respectively. And yeah, they did get nerfed too eventually, but when new players are asking questions like, hey, what expansion should I buy? Do I need the new one to play the game? Do I need the new one to play PvP? It's kind of hard for me to answer, I make videos telling people to play PvP, trying to encourage everyone to give it a shot and not worry, about like losing matches and just trying to treat it like a skill and like learn something. And, even though I'm not an ArenaNet partner, I still am in a way promoting the game. I'm still promoting PvP as a game mode. So I feel like I should say something about the current state of how balance is and how the expansion, content impacts balance. And I think overall it has a negative effect on it. People shouldn't feel like they have to buy the new expansion to be competitive in PvP or World v World. And I think we're still at a state right now where that is the case. All of the tournament top builds are all Visions of Eternity builds, and the underperforming builds are across the board. It's core builds and older elite specs. It's clearly tilted towards buy the new thing, and your experience playing the game will just be better. And I just don't think that's right. I just needed to say something about this because, again, I make PvP videos. I'm just a small YouTube channel. I'm not like, my opinion is not like that important. But I do feel because I, promote the competitive side of it that it does impact people's, purchasing decisions. So I just wanted to put this out there. This is not going to be everyone's definition of pay to win, where you're spending money to buy, direct power that benefits you in the game. But I have seen this tactic used before in Elder Scrolls Online when they added these items called mythic items. They were unique to an expansion, and if you didn't buy the expansion, you couldn't get mythic items. And then every expansion after that, they added exclusive mythic items that were always overperforming until they eventually got nerfed. There's definitely a pattern here. The question is obviously, how intentional is this? Is this malicious? Is this trying to, just convince people to buy the game just so they can, have a stronger character? I don't know. I mean, I think it is part of the marketing. Maybe there's a new term we could come up with for this kind of, pay to win. It's like pay to be a little bit better for a while. I don't know. I mentioned in other videos that you can play this game with just the free core game, that you can, play PvP. You don't need to have all the expansions. The expansions were on sale right now and you can get the first 3, I believe it is, for pretty cheap. You can definitely play PvP and be competitive with just that. I'm not saying that you can't do that, but that doesn't mean that there isn't pressure to buy the most recent expansion in addition to that, right? I think that's something we need to clarify here. So yeah, I don't know what the solution is really. I think what I would like to see is more attention to bringing up core builds and then having that be the basis on how power is distributed across all their elite specs. And so we're not relying on the elite specs as much as a source of power for the build. It's just more like a flavor thing for how you want to play that character. What has happened in the past when an elite spec is overperforming, ArenaNet has chosen to nerf core class mechanics that synergize well with the new elite spec rather than nerf the elite spec itself. What this does is it doesn't just nerf the elite spec, it nerfs all specs for the core class, which includes abilities, traits, weapons, etc. And just using Warrior as an example, you know, when Staff first came out, Spellbreaker was overperforming, and rather than nerf just the Staff, we got our traits nerfed, they got some of our healing spells nerfed, our utility spells nerfed, all because they synergized well with the naturally defensive capability of the Staff. And to this day, we are still getting Staff nerfs because of that. And as a coincidence, now that they're nerfing Staff more, they're unnerfing some of the abilities that they nerfed in the past, such as Balance Stance. So just something to think about. Anyway, that's all I have for now. You know, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.